You cannot separate fools from their foolishness, even though you grind them like grain with mortar and pestle. All right, so what I'm going to do is share with you all 5 reasons why you can't separate fools from their foolishness, no matter how much you try. The first point is riches don't last forever, and the crown might not be passed to the next generation. So think about that. Riches do not. What happens a lot of times is people believe that the material wealth that they accumulate, the houses, all of the things, are really what this life is all about. But listen, those things will not last forever. So it's foolish to think, it's foolish to live your life like, with a false impression that those things are going to bring you peace, joy, happiness, all of that, because they won't. They are not going to last forever. Then the other excuse that you hear is, oh, we're going to pass it on to the next generation. And guess what? That stuff may not be passed on to the next generation, or if it is, that next generation could totally squander it. You hear stories about that all the time. So, foolishness is putting your faith in the material things, the riches, because they are not going to last. You have to search for something that's eternal, that's going to last beyond this world, beyond what it is that you're doing right now. All right, second point is fire tests the purity of silver and gold, but a person is tested by being praised. Listen, if you are genuine, you're not chasing the things of this world, you're going to be tested. You're going to be tested by fire. You're going to run into circumstances and situations where you're going to be like, wow, this is not working for me. What am I going to do? Am I going to retreat into fear? And that's foolish. Am I going to go into isolation? That's foolish. Am I going to blame others? That's foolish. And on the other end of the spectrum, such wisdom here is you're going to be tested by praise. If people are saying, oh, you're great, don't listen to them. That's foolish. If they're saying you're amazing and, oh my goodness, please help me, be careful, be discerning, because that also is foolish. You have to be grounded. So your foolishness does not overcome you. All right, the world is going to try to encourage foolishness, but you have to be able to stand above the world when it comes to all of that. Next point, just as death and destruction are never satisfied, so human desire is never satisfied. Listen, death and destruction is never satisfied. People in this world are always striving for more. They want to do things before they die. That this world is like it's tick, 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 tick until you die. So you want to do all the things. You want to go all the places. You want to conquer the world. Power. People searching for power. People searching for fame, fortune. People, on a quest to travel everywhere and to satisfy their desires. Look, those human desires will never be satisfied. So if you're on that quest, that's foolishness. That's the way we were born. We were born with an endless desire. That's not going to change. That's just the way it is. So once you understand that, my soul is thirsting for more, 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 more. So you can't live by the soul, can you? You have to live by the spirit versus the soul. And if you can do that, you are not going to be foolish. You're not going to be driven by the things of this world, by the trappings of this world, what we see on social media, what we see in movies, what we see in music, all those things. So you have to really be super aware of that. And listen, know that your desire will never be fully satisfied. So don't choose to live by desire. Live by the Spirit. That's the key. All right, the fourth point. As a face is reflected in water, so the heart reflects the real person. So what does that mean? What comes out of your mouth, the actions you take, reflect who you really are. Just like if you look in the water and you see a reflection of your face, it's the same thing. So this gets back to what you let into your heart through your senses is what's going to come out of your mouth. The programming that you have inside of you is going to come out in your words, and your words are the most powerful thing that you have. You can either use your words to build people up or tear them down. So important to understand this wisdom. The heart reflects the real person. So if you find yourself saying some things, you're like, oh, I'm not proud of that. Look internal. Determine, how am I going to change that? What is in my heart that needs to be purged out of there? And how am I going to do that? There's several ways to do that, to clean your heart, to clear your heart, and to, soften your heart so it's not so hard with some of these things that have been programmed into you. The good news is this isn't you, and you can deal with them. We have several ways within our community that you can deal with getting out the stuff of your heart that's not serving you, but better still, not serving the world the way you were designed to serve the world. If yucky stuff is coming out of your mouth, if yucky actions are happening in your life, and you know that more than anybody, it's a self-reporting kind of thing, then it's time to start working on changing that. And that's where we come in at Life Transform. So remember that wisdom. And the fifth point, as iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. You need to be in community with other people who are for you, don't judge you, are in harmony with you, will give you truth with grace. And your role is to do the same for others, to serve others that way, to not take anything personal, realize your word is impeccable, to do your best and don't make assumptions. All those are key points. All those are ways that iron can sharpen iron. I think that part about not taking anything personal is so important, because it's so easy to take things personal, and that is going right back to ego again. That is exactly where it is, right back to ego and pride, which is something that we all have to get out of our life, right? Ego and pride needs to go. Because remember, fools believe themselves. So you don't want to be a fool that believes yourself. Fools are self-absorbed. Are you just worried about you? Okay, it's time to change that and get some new wisdom. And if you're not that person, but you know someone who is like that, don't waste your time on fools. I've done other YouTube videos on that. Don't waste your time on fools. How do you know when you're dealing with a fool? Anger is a characteristic of a fool. Another thing to take a look at, wisdom for a fool is useless. If they come across wisdom, you speak wisdom into them, and they don't do anything with it, that's showing they're a fool. If they're wise in their own eyes, if they say, well, I've got it all figured out, I know how you are, I know how you're feeling, I know how the world is working. No, that's foolish. So don't associate with a fool. Don't get into arguments with a fool. Don't do any of those things with a fool. It is just going to rob you of a precious resource that you have, which is your time and energy. All right, subscribe with the notification bell to receive regular updates. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button to see more like this. Comment down below. This can be with questions or answers to a question you ask. And we will see you next time on the journey from isolation to community, where freedom awaits beyond.